afternoon. We'll get going here in just a moment. I'm going to give everybody a little bit of time to get on, and then I'm going to see if I can share my screen here and we'll get started. All right, we're going to get going here. We have a little bit of a small crowd. Some of you may know these are recorded. So we will be providing a copy of this for people to watch at their leisure. Today, our Tech Talk is going to be about email, specifically the new version of Outlook. Some of you might have seen the new version coming out or have tried it out. It's still in development, but there are a lot of great features. And a lot of this will apply to the older version of Microsoft Outlook as well. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Faith. I'm the Director of Outreach and Technology at the Community Action Partnership of North Dakota, the state association here in North Dakota. And I came from an IT background and a data background and a trainer background. And so we thought this would be a great opportunity for everybody to come and just learn a little bit casually about various technology topics in a very non-judgmental, casual environment. So we're going to get started today with talking about Outlook. I've shared my screen with you guys. I'm going to maximize the new version of Outlook that I have open. My Outlook might look a little different than your Microsoft Outlook or an Outlook that you've used before. That's because I've toggled on the new version of Outlook, which you can tell kind of up in the right corner. It says New Outlook, and that button is turned on. Some people have tried it already and turned it on. Some people are still using the old version because there are still bugs with the newer version and some features that aren't quite available yet. But I encourage you to just kind of check it out if you're interested in the newer version of Outlook. You can always just turn this toggle switch back off and go back to the older version if you prefer that right now as well. So we're going to start off with some basic information. We're going to talk a little bit about account settings, mail settings, and then a few other helpful options and functions that you might find helpful when you're organizing your emails, when you're sending your emails, and trying to keep yourself in order. I know many of us receive many emails a day from a variety of people. And a lot of spam and newsletters are on the rise. We see a lot of things coming in, and it might be easier to keep track of things with some of these options and functions that they have available. So the first thing we're going to look at is account settings for Outlook. So in the new version of Outlook, the settings can be found up in the right-hand corner up here where this little gear icon appears. In the older version, you can access the settings by clicking up in the left-hand corner. There should be a little picture of yourself or a little logo that you can click on and then go to the settings that way. So I'm just going to open up the settings and it's going to pop up a new window and it's going to bring me to settings. We're going to talk about a couple of account settings that are incredibly helpful, especially for individuals who have to send and receive a lot of emails. The first one to talk about is automatic replies. So I don't know if many of you travel or take vacations, but we've all had a sick day or two where we're not going to be in the office, or we have a planned vacation and we're out for a couple days or a Friday. Automatic replies is a way for you to set up a default reply to let others know that you're not going to be available to respond to their email for whatever reason. You're able to set up these automatic replies to start and end at a specific time, or you can just turn it on and off manually. So to turn on automatic replies, in your account settings under automatic replies, there will be a toggle switch that says turn on automatic replies. If you flip it on, it's going to give you some options The first is to send replies only during a time period. To do that, you just check the box and select the start date and time and the end date and time. And beginning at those times, emails will go out that you've written specifically to people in your organization or outside of your organization, letting them know that you're unavailable. So, for example, down here, I have one that I set up back in March when I was out of the office for quite a while with limited access to email. So maybe I was at a conference or maybe I was at a training. It was kind of a blur last month, but I was at something. And so I set it up to let people know that I was offsite with limited access. You can have different replies for people in your organization and people outside of your organization. In my instance, since most of the people I work with are outside of my organization, because we're the state association, it's just Holly, Andrea, and I usually keep the message the same. I let them know that I have limited access to email and this is when I'm coming back. Now, if you don't know when you're coming back, so sometimes people have to leave for an extended period for whatever reason, and you don't know when you're coming back, you can turn off specific time period and leave it on, and it'll keep going until you automatically go, or until you go back in and turn it off manually. I've used that before when I had to have surgery. You just turn it on, and it stays on until you come back, and you turn it back off again. So Holly asked in the chat, should we be using the new Outlook? That is kind of dependent on you. If you want to use this new version of Outlook, if you want to use the old version. Some functions aren't available in the new version of Outlook. So if your organization uses things like public folders, they might not be available in the newer version. I still think it's fun to check out the newer version, see which one you like better right now, and then use the one that you prefer. So those are automatic replies. I'm gonna turn it back off because I'm actually here and we don't want to let people know, hey, I'm not here. So automatic replies are incredibly helpful if you plan to be out of the office or have limited access to email. Maybe you're gonna be traveling, meeting with clients, that kind of thing. The next is an email signature. And I see a lot recently that many people don't have an email signature. So first, what is an email signature? Email signatures have specific information in there about like who's sending the email, where they're from. So when I set up an email signature, I came from corporate America where they had very specific templates of what you had to have and what fonts you had and things like that. You don't have to go super fancy if you don't want to. It's just a way for your email to have kind of a professional touch, so that people know who you are, where you work from, and maybe how to get a hold of you. Um, so under signatures, you can create a new signature just by clicking the new signature button. And it's going to come up with a pane. You're going to want to name your signature. I just name mine default because that's what it is. It never changes. It's always the same. It's default. I'm going to put default 2, and we're going to make a newish one right now. You have to name your signature. You just can't leave it blank or it won't let you save it. Some people just put it work signatures. Some people might make signatures for very specific reasons. So I'm going to put default 2, and you'll see a text box down here. You'll be able to customize your signature. So I usually put thank you because I'm a polite person, my name, and you can adjust the font, the color, maybe you want to make it bold or italicized, using the options, just like you would if you were typing in Word. So if I wanted to bold my name, I could select that and make it bold. If I wanted to change the color of it, I could pick like a purple. I recommend if you pick a color for your name or you pick a color for your font, you steer away from the yellows or the bright colors. Some people might have different display settings and it could like wash out your name so you can't read it. You can add in where you're from. In my default signature that I normally use, I've added in a little graphic that people can click on that, you know, save the date for our upcoming conference in October. So you can do all sorts of things with your signature. You don't just have to create a default signature for every email with this. You maybe have specific signatures for specific circumstances. I just like to have one default signature so I don't have to type thank you, my name, over and over again. It saves me like a step. I write a lot of emails. You can also select what signature goes out. So you can have a signature specific just to new messages. You can have one that's just specific to replies and forwards, or it can be the same for both. Like I said, for me, mine is the same for both. You just select what signature you want from your drop down menu. In my case, I just want default as my option. If you create a signature and you don't need it anymore, maybe you playing around and you made like 6 or 7 of them, you don't want it anymore, you can easily delete a signature just by clicking the delete button. That'll get rid of the signature. It won't delete it off emails you already sent. It just deletes it so you can't send another email with that signature. I like having them set up just because when I'm sending emails, I want people to be able to know how to contact me in addition to my email. So my telephone number and extension, my fax number, the website. Sometimes I have the little icons for social media for CapND on there. So I include a lot of information in my signature. The final account setting I want to talk about is categories. And a lot of people use categories normally on their calendar or their calendar events. I use categories both on my calendar events and in my emails. So, categories are labels or tags that apply to emails or calendar events that help you prioritize and label information based on like projects, tasks, a subject, a person. And these are very subjective to what you do or what you want to know. So, for example, I have ones that say personal appointments. So, if I'm going to be out of the office for a personal reason, I label it personal appointment, or I get an email related to a personal appointment, I'll label it personal appointment. But I also have other ones, like when I'm working from home, specifically for my calendar so that people know that I'm working from home, I label it working from home. Maybe I need to catch up with somebody or I need to review some emails. I have a contact catch up one. Other categories people might use are specific programs. So maybe you're responsible for a veterans program and a food pantry and a workforce program. You could create different categories for those. So you could label your calendar events and your emails with those categories. I'm going to jump out of the settings for a bit so you can see what it looks like in my emails, what those labels look like. So you can see on the ones that I've labeled, you're going to see a little label with what I labeled them as. So I have ones that says items due, and it's usually connected to something that I don't want to put on my task list, but I still know that an item is needing to be done on that email. To add a category to an email, so let's say I wanted to categorize this email that came in. If you select the email, you'll see a ribbon at the top. Yours may be a simplified ribbon. If you want to see all of the options, there'll be a little caret on the right-hand side. You just click that to view the full ribbon. But you're going to click categorize and you're going to see a list of categories. All you do is select the category or categories that apply. So I honestly don't know what this email is, so we're just going to pick one. So I'm going to put this website updates. And you'll see now that it has that category on there as well. If something has more than one category and I need to know, like I need to do it for a conference and I need to do a website update, you can put multiple categories on the same thing. So for example, this email applies both to a conference or training and a website update so that I know when I'm looking at just like a glance of my emails, what subject is appropriate or what subject I would be looking at when I go to that email. So, great way for me to visually see what task I'm going to work on and what it applies to as far as like my schedule and things. So those are the specific account settings that I wanted to talk about with you guys, but there are some additional settings that are specific to your email that will be incredibly helpful for you when you are sending emails, when you're trying to organize your emails. So we're going to go back into settings and we're going to take a peek at them. To get to your mail settings, it's still that little gear. Instead of where it says accounts, you're going to go where it says mail. So under mail, there are a ton of settings that we could talk about. I'm going to start with the layout first. This specific section is all about how your Outlook looks to you. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the focused inbox that's up here at the top. It's a feature that's designed to help you focus on important emails by splitting your inbox into two sections, focused and other. So it's going to create two tabs for you. The focus tab is going to contain emails that Outlook has determined are most important for you based on things like your past interactions with emails, people that you email a lot, the sender, the content in the email. These are usually going to be emails you see from people you frequently communicate with, or they're deemed important by Outlook's algorithm. I can't tell you what Outlook's algorithm is. Sometimes I get a random thing if I'm using Focus Inbox that says it's a priority, and maybe it's just like a pizza coupon. I don't know how it decided that was a priority, but it did. The other tab, so you have your focus, which is supposed to be more priority emails. Your other tab is where you're going to see the rest of your emails. They're considered a lower priority in Outlook, so it puts all the other emails in that tab. These are usually things like newsletters, notification emails, people you don't normally communicate with. A lot of spam that doesn't automatically get filtered out will end up in there. So you're able to kind of focus more on high priority emails, but also see all your other emails. The focused inbox is optional. So a lot of people, when they get a new computer, the focused inbox is turned on and they don't know where to find their other emails. You can turn this off. I personally don't like a focused inbox because I forget the other tab exists. And then I have to go, oh no, I missed an email. Go to the other tab and then find it. But if you do want to turn it on, you can click on the sort messages into focused and other. And then it will split up your inbox just like this, where you'll see a focus tab and then an other tab. So maybe you got a new computer, maybe they, reinstalled something and you're seeing this focused inbox and you don't like how it looks. You can easily update in the settings. Once again, you're going to go to that gear, you're going to go to mail, and then in the layout, you can put don't sort my messages, which is how I prefer it. So it's all about how you work best in your email. Do you want a focused inbox? Or do you want to see all of your messages all at once? A couple of the other layout options you have is text size and spacing. Maybe it's easier for you if the font size is larger. Maybe you prefer to see more stuff, so you have it smaller. Maybe you got really good eyes. I don't know. I usually keep it at medium. It's kind of the default. Feels nice and normal. But I do know individuals who have vision problems. They usually tend to do the larger size, so they're able to read it a little bit easier. You can also do things like your reading pane. Do you want that visible? Do you want it shown for on the top, on the bottom, on the left, on the right? How do you want to see certain things? So you can come into the layout section and set up how you want your Outlook to look. Like, do you want a reading pane? Do you want folders a certain way? How do you want the messages displayed? Those types of things in this layout settings. In addition to the layout of Outlook itself, you're also able to make updates to your how your emails look when you're sending them. So under compose and reply, there's a message format, which allows you to select what your default font and color will be for each of your emails. So let's say you would prefer a specific font. I don't know how many font people are on. They changed the default font recently on most Microsoft programs to this Aptos. Before it was Calibri. Before that, it was Arial, and before that, I think it was Times New Roman. But some people have font preferences. So if you have a font preference and you want all of your emails to have a specific font, you can come into the compose and reply and select the font you want, the color you want, and it'll show you what it'll look like. So if I would prefer my emails to be in like a navy blue, you can see what it would look like if I changed the color to navy blue. When I say steer clear of the yellows, this is what I mean. So sometimes I like to live in dark mode. I'm like a little gremlin in my cave. So in dark mode, I can read the yellow fonts really well. But right now I don't have it in dark mode and it's difficult for me to read that yellow font. So when you're selecting a color, I recommend usually finding a color that works best on both dark and light. Um, Otherwise, just the default black. When you switch to dark mode, that switches to a white, so you can still read it. There's the reply or reply all section. I don't know if you've ever been on an email, the happy birthday. Everybody wish this person a happy birthday. And then everybody clicks reply all, and you get emails all day long wishing this person a happy birthday. And that's because people are selecting reply all. So one way to prevent yourself from doing that is changing the default response option when you reply from directly in the reading pane from reply all to reply. I personally only use reply all when I'm doing it for things that I've added people to the email, I need them all on it. But for general emails like, hey, there's popcorn in the break room, or it's somebody's birthday, always select reply. Because our organizations are a little bit smaller, but I've been at a place with thousands of people and I received 500 happy birthdays that weren't mine. So this is a great way to prevent yourself from replying all when you should just be replying. The other feature that I love, I turned it off so I can show you how to do it, is undo send. I don't know if you've ever like oopsied and clicked too fast to send before you were totally finished writing your email or had an attachment. The undo send allows you to cancel an email message after you've pressed send for up to 10 seconds. So if you whoopsie doodled like I did and like hit enter and send it, and I see that I did it, I can undo it. You can choose how many seconds you give yourself by clicking along this bar. I recommend giving yourself the full 10 seconds. You might think you're fast with the click. I promise Outlook is faster. So you can select up to 10 seconds. And then when you press send and you didn't mean to, you have a little bit of a buffer to undo that send. I'm going to save that again because I missed my undo send. I almost sent an email prepping for this that was half written. So undo send is your friend. There are other options in here that we can go through and talk about in regards to mail settings. I'm going to talk about one other one a little bit later on. It's the sweep option. And I'm going to show it to you in action. But just know that you can also do it from the settings when we get there, and I'll remind you. Forwarding, if you change email addresses, we've had it happen where somebody's email was severely hacked and they basically had to get a whole new email. What we did was set up forwarding, so people who emailed that old email, it would go to her new email instead. You can do that under forwarding if you want your emails forwarded somewhere else. Most of the time this is done when someone leaves the office and they need their emails forwarded to somebody. So you can turn on email forwarding here just by clicking enable forwarding, and it's going to ask you what email you want those messages forwarded to. So those are some of the main settings that I wanted to talk about, both in account and mail. We're gonna pop on out and we're gonna go into some options and functions that are available in Outlook that'll help you stay more organized, maybe have a little bit quicker control over your inbox. I've let my inbox get to 1,000 unread messages, and that was a lot for me. So some of these tips and tricks helped me efficiently clear out my inbox so I knew what I could focus on. So first, I'm going to talk about conversations. So in your email, under the View tab, so if you're in your Outlook, in your mail, if you go to the View tab, in the new Outlook, it'll say Conversations. It looks kind of similar. It's checkboxes in the old version, but in the new version, it's this little nifty envelope that says Conversations. If you click on that, you can group your related emails into a single conversation thread. So instead of having emails that go back to the end of time individually, it groups them all together and it rolls them up. So for example, you're going to see these little carrots in mine. I have it grouped into conversations. It keeps all of the emails for that conversation together. So if I click on that little arrow, look at all those emails in that conversation. So it groups them all together so I don't have to go scroll back in time to try to find the original email, I can see them all together at once in that email. The conversations is optional. If you show each message separately, I'm gonna do this, and you're gonna see those little carrots will go away, and now I just have single individual emails. So you see how long my inbox kind of got there? With conversations, I'm able to just group all of those related emails into one, and look how tidy it got. Some people prefer conversations. Some people like those individual emails. It kind of depends on how you best work. I find conversations helpful because it limits how much scrolling I have to do to find something. The other super helpful option I have is favorites. So I'm going to open up, I have two emails. Long story, used to work for our local office. So I still have that email, but this is my current email. If I pop this open, these are all of the folders and things related to that email. And these are all the folders and things related to my other email. Instead of having to go and find the correct inbox or the correct sent items or whatever, I'm able to set up favorites. So for example, if I want to be able to quickly access both inboxes, I can make them a favorite and they'll show up in this favorites menu. So I'm gonna click on it, you right click, and you're gonna see add to favorites. And now you can see that I have two inboxes. They're labeled one Cap ND, one Seneca. So I can easily access both. So for you, maybe you have, maybe you sort your emails into folders. I call it folderizing. I don't know if that is actually a word. I've heard people use it before, but folderizing. So maybe you put emails in specific folders, but you access a couple things more often than you do others. That is when favorites are helpful. So for example, I use archive for my emails. If I need an older email, everything goes into the archive. And so I favorited the archive. My inboxes, like I said, since I want to be able to view both of them, I made them favorites. Now I don't have to scroll anywhere. Now I just have this nice little tidy favorites. I can get to my inboxes, my sent items. I can look at my drafts. I can look at my archive. And then we'll talk about the snooze option here in just a minute. Favorites is a great way if you have a ton of folders to prevent yourself from having to scroll and find folders you use on a regular basis. So the snooze option, I discovered the snooze option and I have never been more excited in my entire life. So the snooze option in Outlook allows you to temporarily dismiss an email from your inbox and have it reappear at a later date or time so you can look at it and deal with it later. So there are days where I will get several emails in succession, one right after another, with tasks for me to do from my director or from our fiscal individual. And in order to make sure that I hit them all, rather than just leaving them all unread, there will be times I will snooze a couple. So I'm going to snooze an email for you guys so you can see how it works. It's super handy for managing your inbox so that you can set aside an email and address it later. So whatever message that you want to snooze, you're going to find that message. And if you right click, you're going to see all of these options. One of those options is snooze. And you can choose one of the options they give you. So later today, tomorrow, this weekend, next week, or you can choose a specific date that you want it to appear. So I'm just going to snooze one right now. We're going to snooze it for later today. And you'll see that that message now disappeared from my inbox because I snoozed it. If I want to see what I've snoozed, like I get through all my tasks and I'm like, oh, I should go find something, I'm able to go see what was snoozed in the snoozed folder. Now, if you don't have it favorited, it will appear in your list as snoozed. Right here, it says snoozed. I just favorited it because sometimes I work too fast and I need to access things that I've snoozed. You can snooze multiple emails at once if you need to deal with them later as like a batch. Now, I will tell you, the snooze option has different implementations across the platform. So if you use the old version or the web version or the mobile version, um, sometimes the function won't be available or the function might work a little differently, but the basic concept still applies with snooze. It'll put it away and send it back later. So I find snooze incredibly helpful when I have way too much to do, but I also don't want to lose an email within the midst of all of my emails. A couple other options when you right click, there is the ignore feature. Ignore will automatically send that email to deleted so that you don't have to worry about it anymore. So any related conversation to that email will also be deleted. Sometimes I use ignore if somebody has emailed me repeatedly and it's a spam email. I'll ignore those emails. Yes, Holly, snooze is a funny word. I like it. It fits my personality. I hit snooze on my alarms a lot, so I like to be able to snooze my emails. You can also report something as phishing or junk so that future emails from that email address will automatically go into your junk. And if you have specific IT functionality, it would send your IT company a notice saying that it was reporting something for phishing. Kind of depends on your organization. You can also block the sender. So if you have somebody that continually emails you, this is usually, like I said, usually people who are soliciting information. They're like, hey, we want you to subscribe to our magazine, and you get 50 of these a day. Holly, you know what I'm talking about. We get email from the same person over and over again, even though we've replied and said we're not interested. You can use block to block the sender. In addition to that, if there's somebody you should never, ever, ever block, you can also put never block sender. So like your boss, you wouldn't want to block your boss. Don't block your boss. Good. That is a good piece of a good thing to keep in mind. No matter what, don't block your boss. Not on your phone, not on your email, because they might want to get a hold of you while you're working. The next one that I want to show you is called sweep. And sweep is a function in the new Outlook. You will not currently see it in the old Outlook. Um, it helps you manage your inbox. It's kind of exactly what it says. It sweeps your inbox, so it clears things up by performing actions on multiple messages from a specific sender or a group of senders. It is super useful with recurring emails or newsletters that you want to keep cluttered without, or want to keep away without cluttering up your inbox. So how sweep works is up in this little ribbon where it says home, you're going to see a broom that says sweep. You're going to click on the broom and it's going to come up with several options. So you can move when you're sweeping from a specific sender to specific folders. Like maybe I never want to look at these emails from this person ever again. I can sweep the messages that are currently in my inbox to deleted items. If I don't want to go back and find all the ones for this person, I just want to delete them all at once, I can move them to deleted. If I want to move all the messages forever from this person to deleted or a different folder, I can do that. I can keep the most recent message and then it'll move the rest to whatever folder I put it in. Or it will move older messages. So if you're like me and you slacked a little and your inbox got way out of control and you get recurring emails from or newsletters from somebody, but you don't want to go back to ones that were 6 months old, you can select the most recent one and snooze it and then have always move messages older than 10 days from that sender go to your inbox. So if you ever get caught again, they'll automatically be moving out of your inbox. This is a great way to clean it up. You don't always have to send it to the deleted folder. If you folderize, you can, I set up some folders, you can sweep it into a specific folder based on your organizational system. You can sweep it into your archive, you can sweep it to deleted, you can create a whole new folder. So depending upon how you organize your email, you can use sweep to move things to those specific folders, or you can move large groups of emails that are recurring to deleted because you might have, like me, let your inbox get a smidge out of control. So that's sweep. I love sweep. I just sweeped my inbox and deleted like 700 things. I was so excited. Um, so if you haven't used Sweep and you got a lot of emails, try it out. It's great fun. I've never been more excited about an email in my life. The next thing I want to talk to you is about archive. So archiving emails is a way to move folders out of your inbox into a separate location for long-term storage. A lot of people say that archiving an email and folderizing, so putting them in folders, are basically the same thing. You're putting them away for long-term storage. But I prefer to use archive because it has a one key shortcut. So instead of putting things in separate folders, I can go through, and if I want to archive something, all I have to do is click on the email I want to archive and click the backspace button, and it will archive that. And now that email will show up in my archive folder. Some people prefer folderizing. Some people prefer having folders specific to tasks or programs or people. Sometimes you end up with too many folders for tasks or programs or people, and it becomes cumbersome. And for me, that was the case. So I've moved to archiving everything and using the search function to find it. Search function in Outlook isn't always the greatest, but still it's a lot quicker for me to find it that way than going through multiple folders, looking through multiple subjects to try to find the email I'm looking for. Archive also works on the mobile app on your cell phone. If you have Outlook on your phone and you want to archive, you just swipe and it'll move it right into the archive. So it makes things a little bit quicker, especially if you're in an environment where you have to be a little bit more fast-paced. You can archive the messages with a key or a swipe very quickly. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about schedule send. So scheduling emails to be sent at a later time is usually in Outlook, it's called schedule send, or previously it was delayed delivery. What this specific feature does is it allows you to compose an email and then have it automatically send at a specified date and time in the future. And you don't have to be present for it to do that. So it ensures that you're able to send out emails at the most appropriate times, even if you're not able to manually send them yourselves. So maybe you need an email sent out. Maybe you have people that you're reporting to, and you're required to send a specific kind of email or a specific report on a specific day. You can set up an email, get it all composed, everything attached, and then schedule it to send on the date that it's due. To do that, you're going to create a new email. To create a new email, you just go up to your little folder here, create a new email. It's going to take forever. I'm going to send it to Holly. You're welcome, Holly. This is my shameless plug here. When you're sending an email, please include a subject line. I get a lot of emails that just say no subject, and then everyone puts their text into the body of the email. And it can be very difficult for me to find an email related to something if they're all labeled no subject. So try your best to always have a subject, even if it's just like I have here, schedule send. I like to use keywords in my subject as like urgent or follow-up needed, please respond, things like that to grab people's attention. But as long as there is a subject, it help a lot of people immensely when they're organizing emails. It'll let people respond faster. It's less likely to end up in a junk or a spam or be identified as like a phishing email. So try to make sure that you have a subject. So I have my email all set up. I'm sending it to Holly, but I don't want to send it right now. Holly expects this email from me on Wednesday with a report. So I am going to do schedule send instead. So what I'm going to do is go up to the options tab, and you're going to see a ton of options here. You're going to click the little paper airplane with clock, schedule send, and you can select when you want to do it. So it'll give you some options, like do you want to send it tomorrow? Do you want to send it Sunday? Or you can create a custom time. So you'd pick the day that you wanted to send it, So maybe I want to send it tomorrow to Holly at 9 a.m. Once I select the date and time that I want it sent, I can click send. And it's just going to exist out there. It's going to send, but it's not going to send that email until the specified time. So Holly, you're going to get a test email tomorrow at 9 a.m. saying that it was a test schedule send. This is particularly useful when you are working with people across different time zones, or you're sending emails, you want emails sent during someone's business hours. So Community Action is a nationwide program. So maybe you're emailing something for someone and they're on the East Coast or they're in Hawaii, and you want to make sure that they're not getting this email at 2 a.m. You want it to come at the most optimal time for them. Schedule send is a great way to help with that. I use schedule send when I need to send reminders. I'll schedule them weeks out and then let it sit there so I don't have to remember, put a little reminder in my calendar to send the email. It's just automatically sends. I type it when I know it needs to be done, put it scheduled when it needs to go out, and I let it go out. So those are some of the more helpful options and features within Outlook. Since new Outlook is just that, new, I wanted to take a couple of minutes. We have about 15 minutes left to see if you guys have any specific email related questions that you have about functions or options or problems that you might be having in Outlook. If you don't want to unmute and ask them, you can also put them in the chat. Anybody, any burning questions about emails?
How would one encrypt an email?
Email encryption. Okay, so looking at the screen, I know Holly does the SSVF Veterans Program. Judging from Carlene's office, you also do the SSVF program. There are some programs that require emails to be encrypted. You are able to encrypt emails. If it's not working correctly, you're not sure, you might have to talk to your IT department. But to encrypt an email, you're gonna, of course, make the email. I'm so creative. I'm gonna go back to Holly again. And once again, under this options tab. So this option tab has a lot of additional options. So there's the schedule send. You can send something as high importance or low importance, but one of those options is encrypt. So you would go and you would select your encryption. So I'm going to click encrypt. It should say that it's encrypted. It'll say that they can't remove the encryption from this email. That's the point. There's a reason why we don't want people just taking the email that's encrypted and then unencrypting it and then sending it to somebody else. We want it to remain encrypted so that not just anybody can read that email. So you're gonna select your encryption and then you're gonna press send. Now, if it's sending an encrypted email and it errors and it says it can't be encrypted or there's an issue, it could be that that email is requiring you to have a specific license, or maybe it's not set up correctly. So you'd want to talk to your IT department or IT management company. Some of you might have them on site, some of you might have them off site and they come into your office. Maybe you have somebody in your office who's your dedicated IT person, and maybe you have somebody like me who just accidentally fell back into IT, whether I liked it or not. So if you're having issues, find that person in your office, let them know your encryption's not working, and they can work through it with you and make sure they can get that corrected. Did I answer your question, Holly?
Yep, I just got the email.
Woo! Look at that. I'm going to go back. I'm going to open a new email again. I'm going to go back to a couple of the options because I didn't talk about them, but I realized that they could be incredibly important for some of you. So first are these tracking options. So maybe you need to know when somebody has opened and read your email. You can request a read receipt. So what a read receipt does is when you open the email, it'll pop up and it'll say this person would like you to send or would like to have a message sent that you've read this, and you click OK. And what will happen is you'll get an email that says this person read your email. Sometimes this is important tracking information. So maybe you're working on an audit or someone needed specific information at a specific time. It's a way for you to have proof that they opened your email. A delivery receipt is a notification that it's been successfully delivered. So you need proof that you sent the email. Maybe didn't need proof that they opened it, but you need proof that you actually sent the email and it was successfully received. So you can request a delivery receipt that way. This disallow reactions button. So Outlook now allows you, and it has for a while, react to specific messages. So if I want to react to a message, I'm able to do so if I can get it to work. So you're going to see this little smiley face guy up here. Probably shouldn't do it on that one. Gotta find one from Holly or Andrea. Okay. So you're going to see this little react button, and you are able to react to the email. So I'm going to do a little cheer balloon, and you can see that they reacted. And they'll get a notification in their notifications up here that somebody reacted to their email. So you can react to emails just like social media. Maybe you super like an email. You want to let them know, thumbs up, great job. You can react to that email. However, if you are doing an email and you want them not to be able to react, you want this to be a very professional email, there's a specific reason you don't want a reaction, in those options, you can disallow reactions, so they can't do that option. In addition to that, in options, you have high importance and low importance. Most of you know about high importance. You send an email, you put the big red, hey, this is important. It comes across as important when it arrives. Low importance is very similar. Low importance, instead of making it big and bold, it grays it out. So people know that they don't have to respond to it immediately. It's not super important. Maybe there's popcorn in the break room. That would be a low importance email. Maybe you don't want to flood somebody's inbox, so you can mark it as low importance. A lot of people use high importance. Not a lot of people use low importance. I hope that more people start using low importance because it kind of helps organize what kind of email response they're expecting. All right, any other questions related to email, the new Outlook, any problems you've been experiencing?
You got any, are we gonna talk about like the calendar or that like a later time?
I can pull up the calendar. We were going to stick to email, but I can pull up the
Oh.
calendar. What kind of calendar question do you have?
There's just so many things that I probably don't know about.
So Outlook, so Microsoft is all about me, we, us. So they want to keep everything connected and together. So in your Outlook, you have your mail, you have your calendar, there's like a task list, things like that. All of this is really connected. Please bear with me. My calendar is a disaster right now. So in your calendar, there are a lot of things that you can do in your calendar. Is there anything specific you were wondering about, Holly?
Is there a way to like attach an email to a calendar invite?
So I know there used to be in the old Outlook. I'm going to open the old Outlook. I'm going to show you guys the difference between the old Outlook and the new Outlook. Let me get my old Outlook up here and pumping. So it used to be that you could drag an email and drop it on your calendar icon and it would create a new event. It is not currently working for me on the new Outlook, and I don't know if that is just new Outlook or if that's my computer specifically. Come here, old Outlook. It's like, I don't want to open. Old Outlook has had it with me today. So previously you could just take it, drag it onto the calendar icon. It no longer allows me to do that. There you are. Okay, my old Outlook's gonna scare y'all. I apologize. I've customized a lot. Here I've customized colors, fonts, and things based on person. Right now that option is not available in New Outlook, although it is a popular point of feedback that they like this back. So in old Outlook, if you wanted to attach an email to an event, all you had to do was select the email and drag it up to your calendar icon, and it would create the event, if I can get it to work. I am hoping that New Outlook has this feature come about as well. So there you go. So in old Outlook, you'll notice the toggle is off. It says off. In old Outlook, if you take an email and you drag it up to your calendar icon, it will create a calendar event based on that email, where you can invite attendees, make a whole meeting about that email. Like I said, I'm not sure if New Outlook does not have that feature or if it's just not working for me. But if that's something you're interested in and it's something you use frequently, you might prefer to use the older version of Outlook. Any other questions? Well, if you do have questions, you are always free to email me. There are also resources available out on our website, the www.capnd.org. We have a specific Tech Talk section that has resources available. You'll be able to access previously recorded Tech Talks on our YouTube channel. There's a link there as well as our updated schedule. I will be adding in email related resources. Right now there are Zoom ones, SharePoint, there's some cybersecurity related. Over the next week, you'll start seeing email ones out there. And then this recording will be posted up onto our YouTube channel as well. So I'd encourage you, if you have somebody in your office who has questions about email or would be interested in new kind of interesting features in the new Outlook, I would encourage them to check out that recording. I can throw into the chat the page that it is on our website. Otherwise, if you just look up CapND Tech Talks, you'll find them there. If you know somebody who is not registered for the series of Tech Talks, who might enjoy coming and learning and just relaxing on a Thursday afternoon and talking a little bit about features and technology, I'd encourage them to visit the site as well. They can register right on here. Our next Tech Talk is on May 16th, and we're going to be talking about Canva. It's a design program, and a little bit about design. So some features in Canva. They're coming out with some new things. They've got some AI features there, social media posting, that type of thing. So that is going to be on May 16th. And then we will have some additional resources available out on our site about Canva and design beginning in May as well. Those of you in North Dakota, if you are a member of our staff, we encourage you as community action staff to sign up for our staff e-news. It'll have tips and tricks. It'll have upcoming events. It'll have links to recordings, kind of keeps you in the know. So if you have not registered for our staff e-news, I would highly encourage you to do so. If you're joining us from our Region 8 RPIC, we encourage you to sign up for our Region 8 RPIC newsletter, which provides information about events and things across the region, North Dakota, South Dakota, Montana, Wyoming, Colorado, and Utah. With that, we're going to be down 5 minutes early. If you guys have any questions, feel free to send me an email. Otherwise, there are going to be a ton of resources available on the Tech Talk page on our website. Thank you, and you guys have a wonderful rest of the week, and hopefully it's warm and sunny this weekend.
Thank you.